You wake up at 6 a.m. Before the alarm even goes off, you're already thinking about everything you need to do today. The meetings, the deadlines, the bills that are due. You grab your phone, and without even meaning to, you check your bank account. $1,247. Not broke, not comfortable, just there. And somehow, even though you worked 50 hours last week, even though you haven't bought anything crazy, even though you're doing everything right, that number never really grows. It just sits there, stuck, while you keep running. Here's the thing nobody tells you when you're starting out. Hard work doesn't guarantee progress. You can hustle every single day, sacrifice your weekends, skip lunch breaks, and still end up in the exact same place you were a year ago. I've watched it happen to people who are smarter, more disciplined, and more dedicated than most. They're not lazy, they're not careless, they're just stuck in a system that wasn't designed to let them win. And the worst part? You start to think it's your fault. Maybe you're not working hard enough. Maybe you need another side hustle. Maybe if you just grind a little more, things will finally click. But they don't. Because the problem isn't your effort. It's something deeper, something most people never see until someone shows them. I'm Mr. Coin. And today we're talking about the real reason you work so hard but never feel ahead. Because once you see it clearly, once you understand what's actually happening, everything changes. Not overnight, but 1 mile at a time. The exhaustion you can't explain. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you felt genuinely relaxed about money? Not just okay for a day or two after payday, but actually calm. Like deep down in your bones, calm. Where you didn't have to calculate whether you could afford something before you bought it. Where an unexpected expense didn't send your heart racing. For most people, that feeling doesn't exist. And it's not because they're broke, it's because they're always one step away from broke. You work hard. You know you do. You show up early, you stay late, you take on extra projects. And on paper, you should be fine. Your income isn't bad. You're not making minimum wage. You've got a decent job, maybe even a career. But somehow, at the end of every month, you're back to square one. The money comes in and the money goes out, and you're left with just enough to keep going, but never enough to actually get ahead. And the exhausting part? You can't even explain where it all went. Here's what's really happening. Every dollar you earn has a system built around it, a system designed to extract that money before you even have a chance to think about it. Rent takes a third. Debt takes another chunk. Insurance, subscriptions, utilities, gas, groceries. By the time you're done with the basics, the non-negotiables, you're left with scraps. And those scraps, they disappear fast. Not because you're reckless, but because you're human. Because you need to eat out sometimes. Because you deserve a coffee. Because life can't just be work and bills and sleep. But here's the part that keeps you stuck. You think the solution is to earn more. So you push harder, you take the overtime, you start the side hustle, and you do earn more. But rent goes up, your car needs new tires, your insurance premium increases, the cost of living adjusts to your new income, and suddenly you're making $10,000 a year and feeling exactly the same. That's not failure. That's the design. The wealth extraction system. There's a term for what's happening to you, and once you learn it, you can't unsee it. It's called the wealth extraction system. And it's not a conspiracy, it's just economics. It's the way our society is structured, and it's incredibly efficient at keeping people exactly where they are. Here's how it works. Every month, money flows into your life. Your paycheck, your income, your time and energy converted into dollars. But before you can decide what to do with that money, the system has already decided for you. Rent or mortgage comes out first. That's automatic. Then your car payment, then insurance, then debt payments, then subscriptions you forgot you signed up for. And what's left? If you're lucky, maybe 20% of what you earned, but usually less. Now here's the key. These aren't just expenses. They're extractions, automatic transfers of your wealth into someone else's account. And the system is designed so that these extractions grow faster than your income. Rent increases every year. Insurance goes up. Loan interest compounds. But your salary? That only increases if you fight for it. If you switch jobs, if you negotiate. And even then, it barely keeps pace with inflation. So you're not standing still, you're pedaling hard just to stay in the same place. And the people who benefit from the system, they want you to keep pedaling. They need you to keep working, keep earning, keep spending. Because the moment you stop, the moment you step off the treadmill, the whole thing falls apart. Not for them, for you. And that fear is what keeps you going. That fear is the fuel the system runs on.
The 3 layers of extraction. Let me show you exactly how deep this goes. Because it's not just one thing taking your money. It's 3 layers, each one designed to extract wealth in a different way. And once you see all 3, the whole picture becomes crystal clear. Layer 1, the fixed extractions. These are the big ones: rent or mortgage, car payments, student loans, health insurance. Notice something about these. They're non-negotiable. You can't just decide not to pay rent. You can't skip your car payment without consequences. These costs are locked in, and they're the foundation of the extraction system. And here's what makes them so brutal. They rise automatically. Every lease renewal, your rent goes up. Every year, your insurance premiums increase. But your income? That only goes up if you make it happen. Layer 2, the variable extractions. These are the things that feel like choices, but really aren't. Gas, groceries, utilities, internet, phone bill. Sure, you can cut coupons and buy generic brands. You can turn off lights and lower the thermostat. But at the end of the day, you need these things to function, to work, to exist in modern society. And the prices? They're controlled by forces way beyond your control. Inflation, corporate pricing, supply chain issues. You're at the mercy of systems you can't influence, and your budget just has to absorb it. Layer 3, the psychological extractions. This is the layer most people don't see, and it's the most dangerous one. These are the expenses designed to make you feel like you're finally living. The weekend trip, the night out, the new phone, the streaming services. And I'm not saying these things are bad. I'm not telling you to live like a monk. But here's what the system knows. You're exhausted. You're stressed. You're tired of just surviving. So when you finally have a little extra money, you spend it on something that makes you feel alive. Something that feels like a reward for all that hard work. And the system loves this because it keeps the cycle going. You work to earn, you earn to spend, you spend to cope. And then you're back to zero, which means you have to keep working. It's not that you're weak, it's that you're human. And the system is designed to monetize exactly that. Why working harder doesn't fix this. So here's the trap most people fall into. When you feel behind, your instinct is to work harder, pick up extra shifts, start a side hustle, hustle on weekends. And I respect that. That takes courage. That takes sacrifice. But here's what actually happens. You work more, you earn more. Let's say you add an extra $500 a month. That should help, right? That should finally give you some breathing room. But watch what happens. You move to a slightly nicer place because you can finally afford it. $200 more a month. You upgrade your car because the old one feels like a burden now. Another $150. You start going out a bit more because you've earned it, because you're finally making decent money. Another 100. And just like that, the 500 is gone. You're making more, but feeling exactly the same. This is called lifestyle inflation, but it's deeper than that. It's the extraction system adjusting to your new capacity. Think of it like this. Imagine you're carrying a heavy backpack. It's exhausting. So you start working out, getting stronger, thinking that'll make it easier. But every time you get stronger, someone adds more weight to the backpack. That's the system. It doesn't want you to fail. It wants you productive, earning and spending, but never quite comfortable enough to stop. I've seen people double their income and still live paycheck to paycheck. Not because they're irresponsible, but because the system scales with them. The more you make, the more gets extracted. And the exhausting part? You can't see it happening. You just feel it. You feel like you should be further ahead by now, like you should have more to show for all this work. And when you don't, you blame yourself. You think you're not disciplined enough, not smart enough, not hard enough. But that's not the truth.
The truth is, you're playing a game that was rigged from the start. The shift that changes everything. So if working harder doesn't fix this, what does? Here's the shift that changes everything, and it's simpler than you think. You don't break the cycle by earning more. You break it by keeping more. Let me say that again, because this is the key. The goal isn't a bigger paycheck. The goal is a wider gap between what comes in and what goes out. And that gap isn't built by hustling. It's built by seeing the system clearly and refusing to let it run on autopilot. Here's what that actually looks like. First, you make the extractions visible. Most people have no idea where their money goes, not because they're careless, but because they're tired. So you sit down, you pull up 3 months of statements, and you write down every fixed extraction: rent, debt, subscriptions, insurance. You don't judge it, you just see it, because you can't fight what you can't see. Second, you identify what you actually control. Some extractions are locked in. Your rent isn't changing until your lease is up. Your car payment is fixed. But some aren't. That $14.99 subscription you forgot about? Extraction. That $6 coffee every morning? Extraction. That overdraft fee you didn't notice? Extraction. The system bets you won't see these, or that you'll be too tired to care. But every dollar you redirect is a dollar the system doesn't get. And those dollars add up faster than you think. Third, you build the gap slowly. You don't need to cut everything. You don't need to live like you're broke. You just need to keep $50 more than you did last month, then $100, then $200. That gap is your breathing room, your margin, your first real step toward control. Because here's the truth. The system can extract what you don't expose. And the moment you start protecting even a small piece of your income, everything begins to shift. What happens when you hold the line? Let me show you what this looks like in real life. Imagine two people, same job, same income, same city, both making $55,000 a year. Person A gets a $5,000 raise. They're excited. They've earned this. So they move to a nicer apartment, $200 more a month. They upgrade their car payment. They go out more because they finally feel like they can afford it. A year later, they're making $60,000, but they feel exactly the same, maybe even more stressed, because now they have more to lose. Person B gets the same $5,000 raise, but they do something different. They don't upgrade anything, not yet. Instead, they take that extra $400 a month and put it somewhere the system can't touch it. A high-yield savings account, an investment account, somewhere that builds instead of extracts. A year later, they still live in the same place, drive the same car, but they have $5,000 saved, maybe $6,000 with interest. And here's what that does. It changes the feeling. When the car breaks down, they don't panic. When rent goes up, they have options. When life happens, and it always does, they have space to breathe. They're not richer in the way most people imagine, but they're free in a way most people never feel. That's the difference. That's what breaking the cycle actually looks like. It's not about making more. It's about keeping more and protecting it from a system designed to take it back. Here's what I want you to understand. The wealth extraction system isn't just stealing your money. It's stealing your life. Every hour you work just to stay afloat is an hour you're not spending with people you love, not building something meaningful, not resting. The system doesn't care if you're tired. It just cares that you keep going. But here's the beautiful part. The moment you see the system clearly, the moment you stop letting it run on autopilot, you take back something more valuable than money. You take back your attention, your energy, your sense of control. Because financial freedom isn't about having $1 million. It's about not living in constant low-level fear. It's about being able to breathe. And that starts the moment you decide, I'm going to keep more than the system takes. It won't happen overnight. You won't wake up rich tomorrow. But you will wake up with a plan, with clarity, with one less thing controlling you. And that, more than anything, is what changes the trajectory of your life. So here's what I want you to do. Tonight or this week, whenever you have 30 quiet minutes, sit down and look at where your money actually goes. Not to judge yourself, not to feel guilty, just to see it clearly. Because the moment you see the wealth extraction system for what it is, you stop being a victim of it. You're not lazy, you're not failing. You're just caught in a system that was designed to keep you exactly where you are. But now you see it, and seeing it is the first step to breaking free. One decision at a time, $1 at a time, 1 mile at a time. I'm Mr. Coin, and remember, you don't need to be rich to feel safe. You just need to start keeping what's yours. That's the real win. That's the finish line that actually matters. Progress happens 1 mile at a time.